What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? What is this? Is this a bonus episode? We got a bonus episode coming from the Fourth and Fantasy podcast. How you doing today? My name is Meek. I got my co-host Wu across the table. Wu,
what's going on?
We just, we're like, hey, listen, we got a lot of free agent news going on. Why don't we drop you a bonus episode for you guys to enjoy over the weekend?
I mean, we're just nice guys. What can we say? Like, not everybody else out here doing this.
No, not everyone else is bringing you a bonus episode for all the listeners at home. Giving you the information on these free agents, what we think about it. Only here at Fourth and Fantasy.
Facts.
Where you get the best. So a lot of news going on in this free agency. Not as popping as I would say in years past, but still some very fantasy relevant information that
100%.
The people need to know about, right?
100%.
You know what I mean? Of course, again, this is a bonus episode we're throwing at you. We're kind of going off the cuff in this one, just talking.
These are some more immediate reactions, kind of just sitting here. It's more of a conversation more than it was thought out prior. We're kind of just going to bounce off each other and see what our initial reactions are to these signings and trades.
Absolutely. And I'm sure, we're recording this, on 7:30 on a Thursday night. So there may be some things that pop while we're talking. We'll try to fill you in, give our immediate impressions, but there may be some other things that, pop afterwards. So just make sure you're checking your Twitter feeds and things like that.
Yep.
We've hit 430 plus plays on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube. That is all because of the love that you share us.
Super cool.
Keep doing it. Keep giving the love. Make sure you're following us on all of our socials, Twitter at Fourth and Fantasy, Instagram and TikTok at Fourth and Fantasy. I'm sorry, Twitter's at Fourth and Fantasy Pod, and then YouTube at Fourth and Fantasy. You can search us. Please give us a like, follow, subscribe, share it, and maybe leave a comment. You never know what's going to happen.
Yeah, we want to hear what you have to say.
Right. So again, I promised the people at home that I would give them a update on our Dynasty League that we're doing through the Fantasy Trading Room. I think last time we talked, we were at round 15 where we had taken Romeo Dobbs.
Yep.
Slow creep. We've only gotten through 5 more rounds.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, I think we had some pretty valuable picks. After Dobbs was a long wait, and then it came back to us, and then we snuck off Hollywood Brown in the end of the 16th round.
Who had just gotten a contract earlier that day.
Literally earlier that day, got a contract to re-sign with Kansas City.
And we were considering taking him, the picks before.
Absolutely. And, you never know. Like we talked about, last episode on the pod that we Xavier Worthy had some like a felony.
It looks like he dodged that,
but he might have dodged it. So, but there's still some value to be had, with someone like Patrick Mahomes throwing you the ball. So who knows? We followed that up right in our the 17th round with a kicker. I believe that is the 307, and that was our third rookie pick because we got 2 first rounds. We got nothing in the second. Oh no, I'm sorry. Our 4th rookie pick. We have 2 in the first round, 1 in the second round, 1 in the third round. And then the last, back to back, because we're sitting at 12, we followed up with a couple of elder statesmen, I would say, right? Austin Eckler, Hunter Henry, just for some running back depth and for some tight end depth.
Depth never hurt anybody.
Yeah. So right now the draft's sitting at round 20 coming back to us. So we'll have to see what we're doing. We do need potentially some quarterback depth.
Yeah.
But you can always take some young guys that are still sitting on the board. You never know.
Yeah, rookie pick probably wouldn't hurt too.
Yeah, rookie pick wouldn't hurt. We do have to double check though because 3 went off the board this past round.
Okay.
And I don't know how many are
we
left,
gotta see where we're
left
at.
for the picking.
Got some math to do.
Yeah, we got to count them up. But anyways, that's an update on our dynasty startup so far.
Let's just hang the banner right now. Call my shot.
Might as well. I can't wait for this rookie draft to happen, and I can just click Astringenti 101.
Thank you.
And move on with my day. But we're gonna roll into our quick question. Wu, this one today is coaching change. What is one change? Could be head coach or offensive coordinator that has you excited for a player or a total offense.
I'm gonna go Chip Kelly with Las Vegas, and I'm going to deviate from your question a little bit. It's not so much that I'm excited, I would say, for Chip Kelly. It's more how interesting the scenario is for me. He's coming off a national championship at Ohio State. Vegas has a bunch of money that they can still spend. They go out and trade for Geno Smith. Prior to that, they had basically, I'm just going to say, they had no quarterback. So they go out and get Geno Smith, who I still think can give you, 2 or 3 solid years, enough to get you act as that bridge quarterback until you find a more favorable quarterback draft class that you like. They also sit there with the 6th pick. So I just saw a report not too long ago that there's people in Vegas that really want Ashton Genty. So that's something to pay attention to.
That could be spicy.
Exactly. So there's a lot of different directions they can go with that 6th pick, and then also later in the draft. They already have Jacoby Myers, who's a solid receiver, and then they have Brock Bowers, tight end stud.
Yeah.
I just think there's a lot of solid potential here. I'm interested to see Chip Kelly back in the NFL.
Yeah, I'm very curious to see what iteration of Chip Kelly this is going to be, because I know when we first talked about it, I had just assumed, until we started to get into our, rookie profiles, I just assumed Chip Kelly kind of ran either Oregon style, quick offense kind of thing. But, once I started to watch a lot of like Ohio State film for like Henderson, Judkins, Ibuka, but like it's a lot different than what you noticed. You know what I mean? Like it's slower, it's methodical, there's not to say that there wasn't purpose before, but there's purpose to, the play calling, whereas it's not just like get set on the ball because we're going, by like 20 seconds ready to go. So it's interesting to see what that Raiders offense is going to look like.
Yeah, I just think there's a lot of directions they can take it, and if it's done right, I mean, who knows? Yeah.
My coaching change, it's an offensive coordinator change. And I've talked about this before, but it's Clint Kubiak for the Seattle Seahawks. Clint Kubiak was previously of the New Orleans Saints, now comes to Seattle after they fired Ryan Grubb, which I am sad about. I enjoyed Ryan Grubb. I thought he was a great offensive coordinator. But Clint Kubiak comes in very similar to the Kyle Shanahan offense. So it gets me excited for someone like Kenneth Walker. I think Kenneth Walker, if can stay healthy, is going to have a phenomenal season. And I think that offensive style is just very reliable in this, version of the NFL. Everyone wants to, have your high flying offense where you have your 3 or 4 like pass catchers running down the field. But when it gets cold and we hit like the month of, December into January, it's who can run the football and who can play defense. And I think Seattle realized that, and they were a 10-win team that didn't make the playoffs. And I think they're trying to go back to, let's run the football, play good defense, and that's going to be successful down in the later months of the NFL season.
Yeah, I like that situation. There's a couple nice pieces there. So I'm expecting big things out of Kubiak and the rest of that offense.
Yeah. Also, Ryan Grubb is now the current offensive coordinator at the University of Alabama. So,
okay.
Interesting.
Okay. That'll be easy.
Yeah. So that's our quick question. So again, ladies and gentlemen, this episode we're talking about some free agent changes and things like that. Again, we're going off the cuff. So I have quite a few signings that I have in here. I'm just gonna rattle them off. We might stop and talk about one in depth. We might do a quick one on another one, but we're gonna we'll go through them. Give you our initial thoughts, and then at the end we'll kind of wrap up so far as of Thursday, March 13th, who the free agency winners and losers are. So we're going to kick it off in the quarterback position. I only highlighted three big ones.
Yeah.
Obviously, the biggest one out of all free agency, Sam Darnold signs with the Seahawks. I think we talked about that being a potential opportunity when Geno Smith was traded to Seattle, right? So he signs a 3-year deal. $100.5 million contract. I think it's $100.5 million guaranteed because it was a lot.
Oh, it's fully guaranteed.
No, not fully guaranteed. I think that portion is guaranteed, but I could be wrong. But listen, Seattle gets their guy. I initial thought when I saw it, I'm a JSN fan, dynasty owner. I was hurt when Geno was traded, and I believe the only way it was gonna be fixed if they signed Sam Darnold. They signed Sam Darnold, but now that I think about it, it's like I don't know what Seattle's doing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, yes, I just talked about my quick question. I like Clint Kubiak in that system, but it's like they're stripping all of the players. You know what I mean? I don't know. What do you think?
This is my thought process with the Darnold, situation. We were talking about this a little pre-show. So, he goes to Minnesota and revives his career totally. Absolutely rips with Kevin O'Connell. He's got Justin Jefferson and Addison and Aaron Jones, and puts on a field day with that offense. In any other year they win the NFC North, but the Lions had that good of a season.
Absolutely.
Yes, those last 2 or 3 games of the year, the bright lights kind of got to him when those games mattered most, and he didn't perform as well as he had all season. But he has this huge contract. He does this all in a contract year. And now Minnesota's sitting here with a quarterback in J.J. McCarthy. They have no idea what this guy can do. Mm-hmm. He gets hurt last year in training camp, so literally hasn't even made it through a full OTA training camp, all that stuff, before the season even starts. So now Minnesota's in a situation where we could say, all right, let's pay this guy. Let's bring him back. He just had a great year. And they don't do it. So that, to me, is the first red flag when the guy they just had, they're not willing to give him the money coming off the year that he just had. So now all of a sudden, the rest of the NFL, all the other teams who are looking for a quarterback in free agency or the draft, they have to sit there and say, okay, well, Minnesota wasn't willing to give them the money. Now one of us has to pick, and decide, are we going to give this guy his money? And you know what? I think he does deserve this money because he played really well. And
absolutely.
So it's 100% deserved. But why is Seattle the team that does it? After they just blow up their roster, they trade away DK Metcalf, they lose Tyler Lockett. And that offensive line just is not good.
Yeah.
It, like, plain and simple, is not good.
I was saying this to you pre-show, that this move and series of moves prior to these moves, if they do not work out, will cost Mike Macdonald his job.
Absolutely.
Mike Macdonald, and it's kind of crazy because, like, yes, he's the head coach and he has, he runs the team and things like that. But, this general managing staff, like, they could have, like, they just hung this man out to dry potentially.
Nico Harrison style. Like,
yeah.
What are we thinking?
Like, I just don't understand. I don't understand. Like, you had a 10-win team, and then, like, I know they didn't really do it, but it's like you strip this team down to the nubs. It feels like you got rid of your quarterback. Yes, I get Gino. Gino was an older guy, and you wanted to get younger at the position. But then you also go away and trade DK Metcalf, and it's just like, okay, Darnold has JSN to throw to, and who?
Yeah, Jake Bobo.
Jake Bobo, right?
That's a lot different than Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison,
right?
Which comes to my next point is like, okay, now Darnold's not with Minnesota. You remove him from Kevin O'Connell, who clearly Darnold thrived in that system. You take him away from Justin Jefferson. You take him away from Jordan Addison. Their offensive line was pretty damn good.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, if out of all these teams who are willing to give him money, I don't know why Seattle said, okay, let's do it. I think we're in a good spot to do so because You're not.
No.
So I'm glad Darnold got his money. I don't know why it's in Seattle.
Yeah. And listen, TBD, because, like, the draft hasn't happened yet, and who knows? Seattle can make a couple of splashes, at receiver and some defensive players, and then we're sitting here saying, like, they're a mastermind. Who knows? Mm-hmm. But next quarterback signing that we had that I am actually very interested to talk about is Justin Fields. Welcome back. He takes his 1 year stint riding the bench behind Russell Wilson, and the New York Jets say, "Hey, listen, buddy, we'll give you a 2-year, $40 million deal." Like,
yeah, I'm sussy for Jesse. I'll say.
Listen, it could work. I'm gonna come out and flat out and say it, and I say it could work. He is paired up again with Garrett Wilson, who,
I love that.
Did they go to the semifinal in
they
the
lost
college
to
football playoff?
Clemson, I want to say.
Yeah. So there's a deep connection there. Justin Fields can support a wide receiver 1 because his last year in Chicago, DJ Moore was the wide receiver 6. Now, obviously, the question is, can Garrett Wilson be at the same level as DJ Moore? I think he can. I mean, he turned around and gave you a wide receiver 9. Yeah, wide receiver 9 season this past year
with Devontae Adams.
Adams, you know what I mean? So, like, and I'm going to be honest here. If they don't sign another pass catcher
Have to.
in this draft,
Have to.
Garrett Wilson to the moon, because who else are you going to throw
Right.
this ball to?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I actually found it very interesting because I was going through just our dynasty our dynasty league that we're in, and just looking at the changes for people in their teams. We have a manager in the league that had Justin Fields and Garrett Wilson when Fields was on Pittsburgh, and now he's got an instant stack. And it's
are you talking about our dynasty fight club?
Fight club. Yeah.
I tried to trade for Justin Fields. Didn't work out. And I didn't really want to push the envelope.
No, I get it. But yeah, so I mean, listen, with this signing of Justin Fields, and I'll kick it to you for your thoughts, Wu, but I think this tells me that Aaron Glenn is going to want to run the football, let Justin Fields be Justin Fields. They might go like Tyler Warren for a tight end. I don't see them doing anything crazy, because this offense is going to be predicated on the run, and they're gonna play defense. But what are your thoughts?
So I'm the Jets fan here. Life sucks. But I think I'm happy about the signing. I would say I'm glad they weren't in the Sam Darnold conversation. I don't think it would. I just didn't think that would have
been so crazy.
Oh my god, that's just talk about a roller coaster. I don't think that would have been smart. I'm semi glad that they're staying away from this quarterback class, because I feel like, especially with the Jets, that was just a disaster waiting to happen. No matter who they went and got. I'm especially glad they stay away from trading up to that first overall pick. There were some rumors about that. I don't think this is the class to do it. So they go to Fields, 2 years, $40 million. I think like $30 million is guaranteed, which like may seem like a lot for a guy who was just a backup and you thought his career was pretty much over after he left Chicago. But when this 2-year deal, we also need to mention the NFL cap has increased again, and it is actually 10 years ago. From 10 years ago to now, the total NFL cap has doubled.
Wow.
So technically 10 years ago, this is a $10 million deal for Justin Fields, and you're sitting there saying, okay, whatever. Like that's nothing. So overall, I'm happy. It's an interesting situation. A completely new regime in New York. Aaron Glenn, new offensive coordinator, new general manager. So they needed to find someone who was their guy. I didn't think it was going to, I like Tyrod Taylor, but I don't think they were going to throw him out there and have him start games for the Jets. I didn't think that was a possibility. So they go out and get Fields. It's an interesting situation. I don't think Fields is a finished product. I still think there's things that can be molded there.
Yeah.
And I do think he can be a solid NFL starter.
But he's dynamic enough to change, the game situation for you. You know what I mean? Like you just said, yeah, you can throw Tyrod Taylor out there, but we've seen Tyrod Taylor for what feels like a decade now. Like at least with Fields, like he can do something with his legs to give Jet fans hope.
Yeah. The reunion with Garrett Wilson is going to be really fun to watch. I love that so much. I think that there was talk about Garrett Wilson being unhappy with the organization. I wonder if this played into it.
I do too.
Because if you're going to keep anyone happy, I want it to be him. He's not allowed to leave East Rutherford. And then the only other thing I would touch about with this is Breece Hall. With Rodgers and Zach Wilson and just a collection of dumpster fire quarterbacks they've had over the past couple of years with Breece, the safety net was always, all right, Breece is over here. Let me chuck it down to him real quick.
Yeah.
And he eats on receptions. I think those unscripted, play breaks down, pocket breaks down, Fields will use his legs to extend the play, and I'm okay with that. But I think there will still be enough scripted throws to Breece Hall because he is that dynamic in the passing game and is a home run play waiting to happen. And then, like you said, I think they're going to start leaning on the run a little bit more. And Breece has yet to have a 1,000-yard rushing season. I think this is the year.
Yeah, I obviously I'll save my Breece thoughts, but I just want to point out to the folks at home that Wu did say Breece is going to be a running back 1 within the next 3 years.
I did say that. I stand on that.
We'll see.
I stand on that.
The last interesting signing for fantasy, of course, out of quarterbacks is Daniel Jones.
Oh, so relevant.
Daniel Jones signs a 1-year contract, $14 million. Wu, all I'm going to say to you is Daniel Jones starts how many games next season?
6.
Wow,
yeah.
6.
And I don't even know if I'm willing to say it's just based off injury. Like I don't even know if Richardson will last the whole year.
I don't think it's injury either. I think you're gonna see the shortest leash on Anthony Richardson that like anyone's ever seen.
Are they gonna call it a QB battle all all.
I don't
all
think so.
season?
No. I think this. I'll play this out for you. What's going to happen is from the jump when they have their opening presser for training camp, Shane Steichen is going to say that Anthony Richardson is the starter. They're going to lean on him like he's going to be the leader. But we all know from what Anthony Richardson has put on tape, he's not the guy. You know what I mean? The dude can't even throw over 50% of his passes. Like, that's horrible.
He still has one of the craziest. I think it was like after a quarter and a half of a game, he was 2 for 11 for 80 yards and a touchdown.
Yeah.
Like, what kind of stat line is that?
It's insane. So he's going to have the tightest leash. He's not going to live up to the expectations, and then they're going to yank him at some point, and Daniel Jones is going to be their guy. Now, it's probably bad things for you Colt fans if Daniel Jones is playing quarterback for you guys, but that means that you guys have officially just gone into the tank mode, and you're going in for QBs in 2026.
What's up, Arch Manning?
Yeah, exactly. Just before we get into the running backs, just a couple of names that I want to highlight that are still available as of this time.
Yes.
Aaron Rodgers is still out there. Russell Wilson is still out there. I believe Russell Wilson just finished a meeting with Cleveland, and then he's going to the Giants for a meeting. So
Giants are so stupid if they sign
TBD.
him. Oh, my God.
Jameis Winston is still out there. Joe Flacco is still out there. This one is a little bit outdated. Gardner Minshew was on here, but he just signed with the Chiefs about like 30 minutes ago. I don't know if there's anyone else worth mentioning. I just will for hilarity. Did you see this report on Trey Lance?
Oh, God.
So they're having a hard time finding a team that will take him because, he has so much to offer.
Yeah, right.
So those are the relevant free agent signings that are still yet to be.
Pittsburgh, don't be stupid. Go get Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
You need a quarterback so bad, and now you got 2 receivers that need the ball.
Need a quarterback,
yeah,
right?
it's like,
Can Rodgers do it, though, with
he just did it with Wilson, and it would be a hilarious season to watch.
I know.
Like, imagine Rodgers lights up Pickens at a press conference afterwards. Like,
the crash out would be insane.
Oh my God! I want to see that so bad. Now that we said it out loud.
So running backs, we got a little bit longer of a list. So if when we get towards the end, we might breeze through some of them. But the important ones: Aaron Jones re-signs with the Vikings,
Great
2-year,
signing.
$20 million contract. It's a huge signing.
I think he just had like 1,200 yards.
Yeah, he had 1,100 and change. We were talking about. It was like the quietest 1,100 yard season we'd ever seen. This screams to me, though, Wu. I don't know what your thoughts are, but they only signed him for a 2-year, $20 million contract, so $10 million a year. I still think they might go running back and find their Aaron Jones successor. You know what I mean?
Trayvon Henderson.
That one
might be a little too high.
Not too high, but I think it's the same play style almost. Like, I think what they're gonna want if they want to be successful is they want a bruiser and then Aaron Jones to kind of take up that pass catching work. So like Hampton might be an interesting piece. Judkins could also be an interesting one as well. And who knows? So
yeah, I really like that signing from Minnesota. I think he played too well last year.
Yeah,
and it's $10 million a year. Who cares?
I was gonna say, I mean, at the end of the day, what does that cost you? And I think now that you're gonna trot out JJ McCarthy, I think you want as much continuity for him as possible. So if you have a reliable running back in the backfield, some great receivers, it gives them the best chance for success.
I agree.
Next one.
Again, bring out some sad music.
Yeah, I don't know. I felt so conflicted. I'm just gonna cut to it. So Najee Harris, former running back of the Pittsburgh Steelers, signed a 1-year, $9.25 million deal with the Chargers.
Real quick, who called that like a couple weeks ago?
You did.
Yeah.
I will give you your props. I'll give you your flowers.
We'll have to check the tapes, but your reaction wasn't exactly positive.
It wasn't, and it's still not positive. I was talking to Wu off camera. I'm a Chargers fan, and we highlighted here how the Chargers had, afterwards I think they had like $93 million worth in cap. I wasn't expecting huge offensive splashes
because there really aren't that many.
Aren't that many to make, but like they had to do something. And I'm sitting at home and I'm scrolling through Twitter and I'm praying for them to make a move. And here I see Najee Harris for a $9 million deal, and I'm just like, what is going on here? I took some time. I looked into the details. Yes, it's a $9.25 million contract, but the base salary is only $5 million. So, and it's up to $9 million in incentives. So, if you're taking Najee Harris, who is still relevant, I think. You know what I mean? Like, he's only 27 years old. And, you saw what the Chargers did with J.K. Dobbins playing running back. Yeah, I think Harris is a better running back than Dobbins is currently right now. So, who knows if this offense can take a step forward and they can get some receiving pieces. And we talked about it before. Like, if you can get Najee Harris on a team that's always going to be around the red zone, like, he might have double-digit touchdowns. But again, I see this as a like, this isn't the guy move. Like, they still have room to draft someone. But I don't know if my dream of Omarion Hampton coming to the Chargers is happening with Najee Harris being there.
Right. I completely agree. I think it's a good signing for the Chargers. I think it's a win for Najee Harris.
It's huge. Like, think about it. If you were someone who had Najee Harris on your dynasty roster before this, like, I don't even know if
sad boy hours.
I don't know if you could get anything for him. But now it's like he goes to the Chargers. He's like, oh, we got something here.
He will absolutely be relevant this year. I think he could easily be a top 24 guy if J.K. Dobbins was last year.
Yes.
He's a volume guy. He's going to get the touches. There's no one else there. They released Gus Edwards as well. But again, like you said, when it comes to the draft, if they do take a running back, it's not going to be one of those top 5 names that you were really hoping for.
Yeah.
Maybe they can get some value later on. I'm not sure who that name would be. But it's definitely not going to be a Hampton or a Judd. It's definitely not going to be one of those, that first round pick's not going to be a running back.
I will say, so again, I was negative about it at first, and now I'm starting to kind of come up on it. For redraft specifically, if they don't make a big splash at running back, Najee Harris is the biggest value in your redraft leagues. Point blank stop.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like,
if he's your RB2,
oh my God, and he has the potential to get double-digit touchdowns. Like, he could rip. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know, and maybe that's me being biased as a Chargers fan, but like, I see the pathway to success if they don't get one of the big 5 running backs that we've talked about before.
I think it's absolutely a better scenario than if he were to still be in Pittsburgh next year.
Yeah, absolutely. A couple of tender signings that we had. So Jaylen Warren was signed to a 2nd-round tender, so he's going to be back in Pittsburgh. Jordan Mason also signed a 2nd-round tender. I did see that there was some interest from Dallas, but it ended up not happening because I don't think so. Like, the way the tender works is that if the team signs a player to whatever round tender, if there's another team out there that's interested in him, then you'd have to pay a second round pick to get that player.
Yep.
And so I don't think anyone is going to, pay the 2nd round pick for any of these guys, and then also have to pay him on top of it. Listen, Mason had a great year. Warren had some good value in the passing game, but I don't think it's enough, especially with this running back class, to give up a 2nd round pick.
No way.
No
way.
You'll see them around. Interesting one, Josh Matera.
Jerry Jones, you did it. You did it. Congrats, man. You signed somebody.
Josh Matera. Listen, buddy. Javonte Williams.
Matera, we thinking Super Bowl?
Yeah, right? 1-year deal, $3 billion. Genty still coming to town? I don't know. No, we're playing Josh. But anyways, Javonte Williams comes to town. I don't know.
It's a depth piece.
He's a depth piece.
There's no way.
I'm not afraid of, if Dallas were to sign Genty, I'm not afraid of Javonte Williams. I'm going to be honest with you.
No, he's had plenty of chances in Denver.
Yeah.
I swear, if Dallas runs him out as their RB1 next year, that's such a joke.
Comedy.
Such a joke.
Yeah, absolute comedy. I mean, and so I can't remember if it was Williams first or this signing for Dowdle second, but Rico Dowdle's out, baby. He is out of Dallas.
Stay away from Chuba.
He said, I'm coming to Carolina.
Stay away from Chuba.
I'm going to pair up with Chuba. Another 1-year, $3 million deal.
That makes me less nervous.
Wu, as the Chuba manager in our Dynasty League, are you afraid of Rico Dowdle?
I shouldn't be, especially on a 1-year, $3 million deal.
But
it's just the fact that they have Rico was the RB23. Sure, he was he was solo in Dallas, so he had every opportunity to crack that top 24. I just, why am I blanking on his name? Who's the guy they just drafted in Carolina?
Jonathan Brooks.
Go ahead. he goes down with that injury, and I'm like, okay, now I know for sure it's Chuba's backfield again. They give him the extension. I hope Rico doesn't like creep into that production a little bit.
That signing right there tells me like the writing is on the wall for Jonathan Brooks, and he was only there for half a season.
Yeah,
like you re-tear the same ACL that you were coming back from. Like I feel bad for him because he was actually a really good player.
Yeah.
I watched a little bit of his tape before, but man, like bye Jonathan Brooks is what that tells me.
Probably.
A couple of ones. Hey, listen, Raheem Mostert decided to not stay on the couch. He said,
he's still alive.
I'm going to get signed. Listen, somebody's got him in Dynasty at this table, and there's life there. Maybe I'll flip him for a third.
Whatever helps you sleep at night.
He signed a 1-year deal with the Raiders. Not going to matter. Again, just like Williams, this is a depth piece. He's a very, very old running back. I don't know how much he has left in the tank. Kenneth Gainwell signed a 1-year, $1.8 million deal with the Steelers. Okay.
I forgot about that.
Wow. But I was talking to Zach about this, and he was afraid with, Warren signing the second round tender, Gainwell signing the 1-year deal that outs him for a running back, and I couldn't disagree more. I think these are the depth pieces needed in order for them to sign a stud running back. And now I'm actually, kind of interested in the Steelers going for one of the big 5 running backs. It just kind of reminds me of like old Steeler football with like, I'm gonna throw a name at you, Rashad Mendenhall. Remember him? Like
Yep.
if they could get like a bruising running back, like it could be interesting fantasy wise for that player.
I think Judkins would be really good in Pittsburgh.
Yeah. And then the last one we had, Khalil Herbert signed with the Colts. Again, just another depth piece for
Roshan climbing up that depth chart.
Yes. Well, he was in Cincinnati already.
Oh, was he?
Yeah, he was in Cincinnati.
Tells you how much Bears I watched.
So some running backs that are still available on the board. J.K. Dobbins. No idea where he's.
He might get like a 1-year deal somewhere.
Yeah.
If it's more than 1 year, I'll be shocked.
Nick Chubb, Gus Edwards, Miles Sanders got released. I also don't know why this name's on the list, but I will just float this out there. Kyle Juszczyk, come see the Chargers. We'll take care of you.
Fullbacks are forgotten about.
Yeah, right. Cam Akers, Kareem Hunt, Jamal Williams, Jeff Wilson, Trey Sermon, Zeke's still out there.
Zeke.
No, not a lot of value out there still, no. But those are the more important ones. All right, let's kick it over to wide receiver. T. Higgins, welcome back to the Bengals.
Cincinnati, you're so cheap, man. I hate it. This guy deserves so much more money.
Do we say it now? When we talk about our winners and losers? No, we'll hold it. We'll wait. But just know,
I'll get into them.
Foreshadow. Cincinnati, you're on the list. So I don't know what the exact number is for that contract. Again, it's the average of the top 5 wide receivers. So he's going to get a pretty decent deal. But my question is, could he? I think the reason why they were doing this, they tagged him this time, was because they were going to work out a long-term deal or a sign and trade kind of thing. So there's still a possibility that T. Higgins isn't in Cincinnati, but TBD, we'll have to see.
Could you just imagine like Cincinnati sits down T. Higgins, they're like, all right, we're gonna franchise tag you. I know you don't want to hear that, but we're about to give Jamar Chase a lot of money, so your salary is gonna go up technically. So this is a pay raise.
I don't know if they can pay all of it.
No,
it's insane. I don't know. Next, Chris Godwin, welcome back to Tampa Bay.
Shout out Chris Godwin for going back to Tampa Bay and not caring about the money.
Yeah, it hurts my Jalen McMillan stock, I will say. I was so ready for Jalen McMillan to step up as that wide receiver too, but he's going to have to wait.
I know the Patriots threw a bag at him.
Yes, he took less money, right?
Big time. I think it was like $20 million.
Colin, you're sick right now.
Oh, my God. Any Patriot fan should be. I tried to tell you, listen, just because the Patriots got money doesn't mean people want to go play there.
No.
This is a prime example of them throwing a bag at somebody. It's like, no, why would I go there?
Exactly. TBD on Godwin, though. He did have that ankle dislocation, right? So, let's see what kind of condition he's in come start of training camp. It might be a little bit slower for him to come back. I don't know how old Godwin is, but he's almost 30. I don't think he's 30 yet, but when you get older, it's tougher to recover from, catastrophic injuries like that.
Yeah, but it's nice to see a 3-year deal. To give him time to
Yeah.
get back to what he was. And last year, through 7 weeks, Chris Godwin, there was only one person who had more receiving yards than Chris Godwin. Who was it?
Nico Collins.
Jamar Chase.
Of course,
it's pretty good company to be a part of.
No, absolutely. I mean, I guess that's encouraging too. Is if you're a Godwin manager, like he got a 3-year deal, like he's locked up for 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
So they must, and again, they're the closest to him. They must know something about his recovery, going well if they're going to throw him a 3-year, $66 million deal.
Yeah.
So, next one, Mr. Devontae Adams said, I wanted the West Coast. I got the West Coast.
Yeah.
Not with the Chargers or the Raiders or the Seahawks. No, he goes to the Rams. Welcome, Sean McVay. 2-year deal, $46 million contract. Woo, my question for you on this one is, how bad does this hurt Puka Nacua? Or does it?
I don't think it does.
Okay.
We just saw Devontae Adams and Garrett Wilson both have top 10 fantasy finishes. I think Stafford, as of right now, especially paired with Sean McVay, is a much better scenario than Rodgers and the Jets.
Mm-hmm.
So I think sure, this could have been a year where we're thinking Puka, does he creep into that top 7 range when he's by himself? What can he do when he's by himself with no Cooper Kupp? Even when he's with Cooper Kupp, like he's putting up insane numbers. So we've had high expectations for him, but I don't think it's gonna hurt him as badly as when you see a name like Devontae Adams signed with the Rams.
Yeah. I don't see the vision in Los Angeles. Like, you don't want Cooper Kupp, but you release him.
Yeah, that was weird.
You take a receiver who's older than Kupp, and you actually pay him the money. Granted, I think Devontae Adams in this stage of his career is probably better than Cooper Kupp. But it's like, I don't know, that this right here, ladies and gentlemen, like screams to me, the NFL is a business. The loyalty is not necessarily there.
Nope.
You know what I mean? But I don't know. I don't see the vision in the Rams. Like, you go out and pay this guy and you have a young defense. Like, I don't know. Like,
well, that's true. They do have money to spend.
Can they do it though? Like, is this a deal that's gonna, I mean, they went to the divisional round and lost to the Eagles. Like, is this enough to get them over the hump? Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
It's like they can throw this money at Devontae Adams for 2 years because they're not gonna have to pay a lot of those defensive guys for a couple years after that.
Right.
And for fantasy, this is great for Devontae Adams.
Oh, this is huge.
Like, I think he could be a top 12 guy.
Really, as a 1B or a potential 2.
Yeah, I just think the Rams' offense is that dynamic. Stafford still has good years in him, and it's Sean McVay, man.
Yeah,
it's Sean McVay.
You got to trust Sean McVay. Next one, Joshua Palmer, former Chargers receiver, signs with the Bills.
This is a really good sign.
This is interesting. 3 years, $36 million deal. Like,
it seems like a lot, but again, the cap's gone up, and I mean, these teams have money to spend.
Is this signing? Is this good news or bad news for Keon Coleman?
Oh, for Keon Coleman, I think it's bad.
Yeah.
I thought you were gonna go the Khalil Shakir route, but he also got an extension.
Yeah. No, I'm not. No, I think Shakir is at this point is locked in as the primary receiver. I'm not gonna say primary target because I don't know. The target market share in Buffalo is an enigma to me. Like, is Shakir the one? Sure. Dalton Kincaid had an awful season, and there was so much hype behind him. Like, I don't know. Does he bounce back and slot into the 2? But then you also have Coleman. Now Palmer comes into play, and I watched a lot of Josh Palmer because he was Chargers receiver. He's not bad.
Yeah.
He's never gonna
slouch.
He's not gonna be your dude, but I don't know. He might eat away at someone like Keon Coleman, who people had a lot of interest last year as a rookie. I could see this stint in the breakout, the year 2 breakout of him.
Yeah, definitely not a great look for Coleman. The nice thing with Shakir is, sure, maybe he's not that massive target that they're hitting all the time. But I swear to God, every time that ball is thrown to him, it's a catch. It's every single time. I don't know what's on his hands. If he's got sticky stuff. Yeah, exactly. So maybe the target amount isn't a lot, but he's catching every single one. So that's nice with Shakir. That Palmer, I think he will fit really well in Buffalo. Allen's got a cannon of an arm. Palmer can stretch the field. This Amari Cooper's definitely not coming back as well with this signing. So I think this is a really good signing for the Bills. And to be honest, inexpensive.
Yeah, absolutely. Moving on, Darius Slayton. The only thing I'm going to highlight with this Darius Slayton one is that he signed a 3-year, $36 million contract with the Giants, and I believe that was the identical contract that he signed with Saquon signed with the Philadelphia Eagles.
Yeah, they weren't willing to give him 3 years and $38 million.
Yes, that's
$2 million
what it was.
Is so much, right, Joe Schoen?
Yeah,
right. Come on,
meant so much. I don't know. Like I've heard on like other podcasts and things like that. Like Darius Slayton was the dude that they never wanted. Like like just by their actions, not that they flat out came out and said they didn't want Darius Slayton, but it's just like they. It felt like they didn't want him, and then they turn around and they give him a 3-year, $36 million deal. Insane.
Yeah.
A couple of these other ones we'll blitz through. Hollywood Brown comes back for a 1-year, $11 million deal.
Pay attention to the legal troubles with the other guys.
Yes. Diami Brown signs with the Jaguars, 1-year, $10 million deal. Okay. Tutu Atwell comes back to the Rams. You just move down a slot. Oh, this is what the other thing I was going to go back to with the Rams. This also with the Devontae Adams signing. This hurts Jordan Whittington, baby. I don't know if you Jordan Whittington. I was hitching my wagon to him.
Yeah, well, they also this reminds me because he's on my roster. They sent Demarcus Robinson to San Fran. So this would have been an opportunity for Atwell to, increase his target share with just him and Puka. And Tutu wasn't bad last year, especially with Kupp missing time. Puka missing time.
Right.
So
right. Kevontae Turpin re-signs with the Cowboys.
You did it, Jerry. You did it. Yeah.
he was definitely he's their return guy, locker room guy. Also, welcome to the Baltimore Ravens, DeAndre Hopkins. I was saying this to you.
How
last
he
time.
Get less money than Diami Brown and Tutu Atwell?
Because this is where wide receivers go to die. You know what I mean? Baltimore has now turned into the wide receiver graveyard. I saw an old picture. I think it was like 5 years ago. It was a picture of Derrick Henry, Lamar Jackson, DeAndre Hopkins, and in the caption, I think it was on DeAndre Hopkins' Instagram. Is how many touchdowns is this trio scoring?
We're gonna find out.
We are gonna find out. This one.
You got your guy. You got your guy.
Got our guy back. Mike Will, baby.
Yeah,
1 year, $6 million deal. Jets didn't want him. The Steelers didn't want him. Chargers will take him back, baby.
Sure.
I don't know.
Stretch that field.
Yeah, they needed a field stretcher. I hope that they still go into the draft and probably get something. Chargers, do something, please.
He's begging.
I am. And then the last one, Mr. No Shoes himself, Mac Hollins, signs a 2-year deal with the Patriots.
Oh, they got their wide receiver one.
They got their guy. Just quickly taking a look at remaining wide receiver free agents. Cooper Kupp, baby, still out there. I don't know who.
I can't believe there isn't a market for him. Is there something wrong with him? I don't get this whole situation.
No, I get
he's a little bit older, but
I think this is groupthink out of the NFL, and it's the thought process of all 31 other teams is like the Rams are willing to cut him and sign Devontae Adams. They must know something that we don't, so we're not going to touch him with a 10-foot pole.
Because I feel like New England, that would be a good spot.
Yeah,
for them.
And I wonder if Cooper Kupp doesn't want to go from sunny California to New England.
I know I wouldn't.
No, Amari Cooper's still out there. Stephon Diggs, but I want to note about Stephon Diggs coming off of an ACL injury at age 31. Don't know how much. The enigma known as Deontay Johnson is still out there.
Another situation that makes no sense. What is he doing in these locker rooms?
I don't know. He's doing something.
It's gotta be bad. It's gotta be real bad.
Keenan Allen is still out there. Chargers go get him. Elijah Moore, Tyler Lockett.
Wow, Elijah Moore.
That one hurts. Tyler Lockett.
Yeah.
I thought he was going to retire a Seattle Seahawk.
What a career.
I know. Anyone else on this list? Not really. Juju, maybe. But
I can't believe he was
Super Bowl champion Juju, I will say.
Oh, my God. That's insane.
All right. Last group before we get into our winners and losers are our tight ends. The top person, Evan Ingram. Welcome to the Denver Broncos. It's honestly, this is a win. 2-year, $23 million deal. because I think I saw a lot of mocks in if they Broncos weren't taking a running back, they were taking a tight end. Whether if it was Warren sliding, but I don't think he slid that much. But Colson Loveland. So now they locked up the tight end market. Now they can go elsewhere. With their picks. So that tells me with this signing that. You're going to see them go running back. I think they're going to be one of the teams in the first round that go running back.
Yeah, and Sean Payton's had success with tight ends. This guy Jimmy Graham, I don't know if you remember him.
Monster.
But since then, he hasn't really had, a serviceable talent at the position. No. I think Ingram's still got some juice.
Yeah.
He's not going to be. I know a couple years ago he had a really nice finish. For fantasy purposes.
I think he almost set the record for receptions by a tight end.
Yeah.
And then Brock Bowers says, hold my beer. I'll break
exactly. But, Denver, it's really only Sutton, and we'll see what Marvin Mims does. He kind of started to, hit a stride towards the end of the year. But at the tight end position, I couldn't even tell you who Denver's tight end was last year. So
no, it was
a good spot.
Because I had him. I was hoping it was Greg Dulcich.
Yeah.
But
he got hurt, right?
He was hurting, and I think they ended up releasing him.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
Hopefully, he's got no competition at the position.
But again, I think this is a good thing for Bo Nix. You know what I mean? Just keep putting the pieces around him, so that he can perform. Juwan Johnson.
I really like Juwan Johnson.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm conflicted about Juwan Johnson.
I think he is pretty touchdown dependent when it comes to, as a fantasy start.
Yeah.
Especially in New Orleans where, last year was just a complete disaster. 2 weeks in, we were ready to say they were going to the Super Bowl because that offense was ridiculous.
I forgot about that.
But then, come to find out they played the Panthers and the Cowboys who weren't very good, the rest of the year.
Right. Yeah, so he signs a 3-year, $30 million deal to go back to the Saints.
I was kind of hoping to see him somewhere else.
Yeah, I mean, okay. I don't know if Foster Moreau is still there or anything, but I mean, at the end of the day, you have Derek Carr still throwing you hospital balls, so
yeah,
I don't know if I want to be there.
Right.
Mike Gesicki, Sticky Gesicki, re-signs with the Bengals.
How did he get a deal before Chase?
Yeah, he gets a deal before Chase. He gets a deal before Higgins. They got their guy 3 years actually too, $25 million. I mean, okay, I don't know. Again, we're gonna go down the rabbit hole of tight ends.
He was a streamer all year. I started him here and there. You're picking your matchup.
I kind of wanted them to let him go, and then they go and sign somebody a little bit more interesting that could be kind of get me excited. But more of the same of Mike Gesicki. I mean, I get it for the continuity of the team.
Right.
Stay with Joe Burrow and
Burrow
stuff
said
like
he
that.
wanted him back. So
yeah, I mean, and Joe Burrow's calling the shots. So if he wants his guys, he gets it.
As he should.
Zach Ertz, welcome back, baby.
Sure.
Comes back to the Washington Commanders. Honestly, that was probably the best case scenario for Zach Ertz.
Yeah.
And I will say that makes me interested in taking a late round flyer in redraft leagues on Zach Ertz, just because of the season that he had with Jaden Daniels,
especially in full PPR,
and he relies on him too. You know what I mean? Like it's not like it's the play design was for Zach Ertz. It's like Jaden Daniels was going to him because he knew he was a reliable target.
Yep.
But I will say that does hurt for my Ben Sinnott truthers out there. I know a lot of people were interested in Ben Sinnott, but
also on a 1-year, $6 million deal, I think there's still a path for Sinnott.
Yeah, but I will say I think the way it played out, and the reason why we're saying this is because Zach Ertz has a knack for bringing out the best in the successor for tight ends. When he was in Philly, he leaves and goes to Arizona. Dallas Goedert becomes relevant, right? He's in Arizona for 2 seasons, and then Trey McBride comes onto the scene. So listen, it still could happen for Ben Sinnott. My folks, you just gotta wait it out.
Be patient.
Yep. Luke Farrell signs with the 49ers. That's probably a depth piece as a blocker. Austin Hooper re-signs with the Patriots on a 1-year deal. Okay, I just hope he doesn't eat away at Hunter Henry.
Yeah.
Because I really think if Hunter Henry gets involved in this offense, and we've talked about it before, Josh McDaniels is the coordinator there.
Yep. He's had some success with tight ends.
Yeah, exactly. I think it could be a very interesting pick, but it TBD on what happens with Hooper.
Again, another situation where he's a safety net for a young quarterback.
Yeah, exactly. I'm just gonna look really quick at free agents still available. Tyler Conklin's still out there. Interesting.
Conk, man, I miss him.
Yeah. Do you think the Jets re-sign him?
No, because I saw a mock with Tyler Warren at 7. I was texting you the other night.
He's sold, baby.
Yeah, I'm sold. All it took was one highlight reel. Guy's a baller. I can't wait to get into the film.
I was gonna say, wait till we get to the tight ends.
You already know where my best fit is.
Mo Alley Cox, former VCU basketball player. Shout out. Harrison Bryant, Jordan Akins, Hayden Hurst, CJ Uzama, Super Bowl champion CJ Uzama, I will say.
Former Jet.
But not a lot out there in the tight end market, but we'll see. All right, we're going to talk about some winners and losers. So why don't you give me a winner that you had from so far from this free agency class?
Yep. My first one's going to be Chicago.
And baby.
It's not so much the talent that they acquired. They go out and trade for Joe Tooney. I believe the other one is Jalen Johnson. Jonah Jackson. Thinking of their cornerback. So it's not necessarily the talent. Joe Tooney's on the older side. I still think you can get a good couple years out of him. Jonah Jackson was a backup. Didn't necessarily see the field a lot, but when he did play, when he's slotting in for injured players, he looked okay. So just the fact that Chicago, where in years past they've had so many holes, they've been a complete dumpster fire. They ruined Justin Fields. The season they just had with Caleb Williams was terrible. So the fact that Ryan Poles is willing to go out and address these desperate needs, and it's not even so much the talent that they brought in, but the willingness to go out and try and make Caleb Williams' life easier. I love that for them. Yeah,
no, I also had them down as a winner, and I think Caleb Williams in 2025 is very interesting. I was someone who I have Caleb Williams in my dynasty league, and at the end of the year, it left a sour taste in my mouth, and it kind of made me second guessing. Like I should have took Daniels over Williams, and the back and forth of that. But I feel very encouraged now. They locked up their center and both their guards to protect Caleb Williams. You also have now Keenan Allen's gone, so Rome Odunze just slots in as that second, that second receiver, and maybe who knows, like he can really shine and step into that role. You always have DJ Moore, and other things I was seeing is that if Chicago wants to get aggressive, they go and they take a running back at 10 or I think they're 9.
Yeah,
and you're telling me you put Caleb Williams with DJ Moore, Rome Odunze, Ashton Genty with a revamped offensive line.
And Ben Johnson too.
And Ben Johnson to call the plays. I'm sold.
Yeah.
I'm sold.
No, I'm in on Caleb for sure.
One winner that I put down was Washington.
Also have them.
We did not cover the trade, but Washington traded for Laremy Tunsil, Pro Bowl left tackle out of Houston, which I think is all good things for Jaden Daniels.
It's a boomer bust trade. I don't think it really hurts them.
No, not at all. And you get help on Jaden Daniels' blind side, on top of trading for DK Metcalf. I think they made some great moves.
Debo.
Oh, what did I say? DK Metcalf? Yeah,
they wish
Debo.
they got Metcalf.
They wish. No, they got Debo, but also the other interesting piece is they lost some players on the defensive side, and I'm saying strictly for fantasy. This could be good for someone, if you have Jaden Daniels or any of these pieces, because if this defense is not as good as it was last year, and the other teams are able to put up points, and Daniels is on the field, and Debo and Terry McLaurin, that's all good things for the offense.
Yeah, I had all the same points for Washington. I love that they are helping out his blind spot. Adding to that offensive line, the Debo piece is nice. Not sure really what he's got left, but just to be able to bring in a potential talent like him on that offense, especially when it was really just Terry McLaurin out there, just making Jaden Daniels' life easier, which is what you like to see.
Yeah. The other winner that I had was Justin Fields. I think his value went from 0 to a boom, at least for this year.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, the ball's in Justin Fields' court, you know what I mean? So I think he's a winner because he's getting a second shot at being a starting quarterback, and it's all kind of dependent on what he decides to do with it, because if he steps in and, does well, I wonder if the Jets decide to, they're just like, we'll stick with Fields and keep it going, just how Detroit did with Jared Goff. You know what I mean? Like, Goff was the bridge quarterback, and he played his way into being the franchise quarterback. I think the opportunity is right there for Fields to, step up.
Yeah, Fields' story arc for his career is like, when you look at it big picture, it's so insane. He's a top pick in the NFL draft. I think he was like the third quarterback off the board. I don't remember exactly. He goes to Chicago, a complete mess, complete disaster. Nothing went right. Chicago is willing to trade this guy. Like, they were like, please take this guy off our team. Like, we'll take a 6th-round pick, please. Yep. And nobody does it. He goes to Pittsburgh, and he starts the year 4-2, leans on that good defense, sure. And all of a sudden they start him for the carcass of Russell. I mean, they bench him for the carcass of Russell Wilson. Yeah. And all of a sudden you think Justin Fields' career is just completely done now. Mm-hmm. And then Russell Wilson just falls off a cliff. Pittsburgh blows up. And the end of this season is just not. It's not what you thought it was going to be. They started off so hot, and now all of a sudden Justin Fields is valuable, and he goes out and gets $40 million, $30 million guaranteed. So honestly, good for him.
Yeah. You have any other winners?
Yeah, my other one is Buffalo. They added a nice piece in Josh Palmer, which is an upgrade from Matt Collins for sure. They save some money by getting rid of Von Miller, and on top of that, they keep their quarterback happy by giving Josh Allen a nice extension. So I thought that was just well done by Buffalo, not necessarily making flashy, big time trades or signings, but keeping lock your guy up, keep your franchise quarterback happy, and you're adding depth pieces around, to improve that roster.
Yeah,
and my other ones I'll just touch on quick because I kind of did when we were going through them. Evan Ingram, I think that was a great spot for him in Denver. You're giving Bo Nix another weapon. I still think Evan Ingram's got another good year or two in him. And Sean Payton offenses, it's looked really well so far in Denver. Devontae Adams, I think this is a great spot for him. Stafford, McVay. I mean, what else could you ask for? And he gets to be somewhere warm.
Yeah.
And he also escaped Aaron Rodgers, which I feel like quietly he's not willing to admit.
Yes.
And then lastly, Najee Harris, another great landing spot in LA. LA gets a deal on him. He's a volume guy. He's going to get the volume. And he can, like we had said, he could easily be a double-digit touchdown guy.
Yeah. We're moving into our losers. My first loser I have is JSN, Jackson Smith and Jigba. I don't know.
I would say a loser with upside.
Yes, loser with upside because
it's a fluid situation.
If they don't go receiver in the draft and he's the only one in town, like I could see Darnold peppering him with targets. But
But we also haven't seen him be that one yet.
Right.
So it'll be a big season for him.
Right. Like this is the true step up. Like, can he do it? Like, who knows? So he's definitely a loser for me, but TBD on it because, they could turn around and he just steps up and becomes that alpha dog that, people want him to be.
Yeah. I have Seattle as a whole as a loser. I just, again, we talked about it at the beginning of the show. I don't get their thought process through any of this. First off, starting with the Geno trade. I still think they could have gotten a few good years out of Geno as a bridge until they found a quarterback class that they were happy with, and willing to, go that direction or another free agent down the line. Who knows? And then on top of that, they trade away Metcalf. They lose Tyler Lockett. The offensive line they haven't addressed at all. And this could just be a really bad year for Mike McDonald, like we have already said.
Yeah, it could be the beginning of the end. My second loser is Dallas. Again, another year goes by, another mediocre free agency. It's like when are we gonna step up to the plate, Jerry? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I thought you were rolling in money.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't know. Like you signed Javonte Williams to a $9 million deal. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what you're expecting from that. Meanwhile, you lose, Zach Martin, and you haven't filled that hole yet.
And I think they lost to Marcus Lawrence too.
Yes, yep. I think he signed with Atlanta or something. So you lost a key defensive piece, and by the way, you have to sign Micah Parsons. You haven't done that yet. They're starting to become like a dumpster fire or like a car crash that you can't stop watching that you need to turn away from.
Yeah.
It could get bad fast in Dallas.
Yeah, even when Jerry's gone, and and 6 feet under, he's gonna have his AI, hologram running the team that he's got set up in Jerry's world.
Oh my god, that's incredible.
My other loser is Pittsburgh, but more specifically DK Metcalf.
Yeah.
I'll start with Metcalf. Out of all the situations he could have went to, he goes to the team without a quarterback.
Yep.
Oh, and by the way, they have a psychopath in George Pickens.
He's also kind of a psychopath himself.
No, 100%. So maybe it'll work.
Crash Out City.
Yeah, like watch out DBs when you got to play these guys.
Yeah, right.
But I just think Metcalf could have gone to so many better situations. I thought Kansas City would be someone who would take a splash.
LA.
Or the Chargers. Literally, there's so many other teams. We can go down an entire list.
I just find it hilarious that, DK preferred to go to a warm weather city, and Seattle's like, yeah, we'll send you to Pittsburgh, baby.
Yeah.
Like, what?
Yeah.
I don't know. My last loser I have here is Brees. I was talking to Wu off camera about the signing with Fields. I think Fields is definitely a winner, but I think it comes at the cost of Brees being a loser, because my whole thing with Brees is the year Brees was the RB2, he had Zach Wilson and a slew of other guys who weren't going to run outside the pocket, and he get those dump offs, which is huge for a running back in PPR format. You know what I mean? If you can't get those quick easy dump offs, like, you're not going to rack up as many points. And Justin Fields, I could totally see Justin Fields scrambling in those situations, not using the dump offs, and then he potentially vultures touchdowns from him in the red zone. Like, it could be scary for Brees. I don't know, like, am I being too much, Woo? Like,
no, not at all. I've already said it. Like, definitely the off-schedule dump-offs, pocket collapses, trying to extend the play, those are going to come down for sure. I hope that they tell Fields, like, listen, we completely understand your running ability. It's the best part of your game, to be honest. So we want you to try and run and pick up some yards. But, again, you have someone like Breece Hall that you can throw it to. Right. So I hope they just try and keep that in the back of his mind. It's just another option for him, to make his life easier. But I still think the Jets know how talented Breece is, and they will still have scripted passing plays for him, whether it be screens or whatnot. So
right. Your last loser, Will.
Cincinnati.
Yeah,
what are you doing? It's so cheap. The fact that we're sitting here and Jamar Chase doesn't have a deal yet. You went out and paid Mike Gesicki first. Are you serious?
Yeah.
Did you just see what Jamar Chase did last year?
Right.
And you're going to sit here and tell me that you're going to give Mike Gesicki his contract first. I don't care how much money Jamar Chase is asking for. You say, oh, here's my checkbook and a pen. You write down what you want.
Yeah.
And we say yes every single time. I mean, what is the thought process? And then to be a slap in the face to T. Higgins. Mm-hmm. Like, if you're not going to pay this guy, at least send him where he's wanted. Right. Because clearly he's not wanted in Cincinnati.
Did you see did I share with you on TikTok the Galaxy Brain idea that Rich Eisen came up with?
Oh God.
You know who Rich Eisen is, right?
Yeah.
So Rich Eisen put up a TikTok and he was like, is it me, like, or like, hear me out, and he kind of walks it through. Like, think about it. Cleveland signs Myles Garrett to a $40 million a year deal, and then you see in the same day Pittsburgh trades for and then signs DK Metcalf to a monster deal.
Yep.
Just ultimately, like, cashing out Cincinnati to where they can't, because then you saw it within 2 days, they let Trey Hendrickson go and find a trade because they know they can't pay him. And now Jamar's going to get something way bigger than what DK Metcalf is. And I'm sure T. Higgins is going to look for something comparable to what DK Metcalf got, which I think was like $35 million a year or something like that.
Yeah, I think it was like 3 and like 140, 150.
Yeah, so like it's honestly, it was kind of a genius move by the rest of the AFC North.
Yeah, if that was intentional.
If that was intentional, obviously on top of making the team better, but like you just cut the legs right underneath Cincinnati, and now they got to pick up the pieces.
And Cincinnati is losing defensive pieces like there's no tomorrow, and their defense was bad to begin with, and it's just like. And now you're gonna sit. I swear, if they sit T. Higgins down and like, yeah, we're gonna franchise tag you, but don't worry, we're gonna pay Jamar, so your salary's gonna go up technically.
Yeah.
Like, go away.
Yeah.
Pay these guys.
I don't know.
You just went to a Super Bowl. Was it 3 years ago? Like
Yes.
you really want that window to close right away?
Oh,
You're only going to go to
listen,
one?
I'm telling you right now, that window is closed.
Like,
and,
yeah.
and they're trying to pry the door open, but it's not happening.
I don't understand how you let this happen, because if you're not going to pay Higgins his money, you don't want to pay it, you can't afford it, whatever the case may be, trade him.
Yeah.
There is value there.
Yeah.
Improve your roster.
Yep. I don't know. Free agency is a crazy time, man. So again,
Makes my head spin.
News is still happening. Make sure you are up to date on the news. That's just a quick little piece of what we got going forward. So again, I didn't actually even say this at the top of the show, but episode 10, boo. You know what I mean? In the books. Double digits, baby.
We're here.
Yeah. Make sure you check out our upcoming episode 11 of Rookie Wide Receivers.
It's a good one.
It is a good one. We had a good time filming that one. But ladies and gentlemen, again, make sure you're following us on all our socials. Twitter at Fourth and Fantasy Pod, Instagram at Fourth and Fantasy, TikTok also is Fourth and Fantasy. Make sure you check us out on YouTube. Please give us a like, follow, share. If you're watching this on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, make sure you're giving us 5 stars. Leave us a review. It helps a lot. But we're in the books, baby. We're done. We appreciate you listening, and we'll see you on the other side.
See ya.